Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of Ranking the Albums. Today, we're going to take a look at the catalog of a band from Sweden who have been around since the early 2000s. They're pretty new to me, and I do want to thank one of our loyal viewers, Fast and Bulbous, who sent me their catalog recently. Thank you so much, Fast. I appreciate it. And once I started digging into these albums, I was like, wow, this band is like totally in line with a lot of other stuff that I like. It's one of those bands I've always heard about, but just you can't listen to everything, right? But now I'm very happy that I have. The band is called Truckfighters, and like I said, they have been around since the early 2000s. They've got 5 studio records, they've got some EPs and live things and whatnot, but this 5 studio albums is what we're going to be concentrating on today. The guys in the band currently, we've got on vocals and bass, mainstay in the band, Azo, otherwise his real name is Oscar Settermalm or something like that. I'm just going to go by the short names they give each other. Dango, otherwise known as Nicholas Kalgren on guitar. Hope I'm saying these correctly. And Toro, currently the session guy on drums. His real name is Johan Marburg. And they've got like a bunch of other folks who have been in and out of the band over the years. Pizzo was their longtime drummer. He left the band 4 or 5 years ago. You got El Dano played drums with the band. Enzo played drums with the band. Pancho, Frango, Pedro, these are all drummers. Gotta love that. Everything's got to end in an O, right? Fredo played guitar briefly in the band. Paco also played drums, and then they've had various guys on, doing session stuff, drumming and whatnot on various albums. Franco, Mackenzo, Lobo, Taco, and Mako, right? I guess that's kind of the joke within the band, giving them these kind of funny little names, and they all got to end in O. So again, like I said, 5 albums. I'm going to rank them as I like them. And I do want to mention, because after I kind of was digesting these albums for a bit and decided to put down some notes and kind of rank them as I'm feeling them, after I did all that, I went out to see like various other websites and things that rank this catalog. And interesting, because I think my ranking is going to be very different from a lot of other people, specifically people who got into this band right from the get-go. And I think that a lot of times when you discover and start following a band from when they first form, you have lots of allegiances to those early albums. Well, me coming in much late in the game, and they haven't released a new album in like, 6, 7 years now, I'm fresh into everything and I'm absorbing everything all at the same time. So I don't have any biases towards, early or late in the catalog. It's just kind of like I'm listening to these all together and I'm absorbing them all together. So if you're a longtime Truckfighters fan, you might disagree with my rankings here. That's quite all right. I think it's totally cool that happens. So, with all that being said, let's get started here. My number 5 is going to be from 2009. It's called Mania. Okay. Like I said, third album, 2009. This one kicks off with a very cool tune called Last Curfew. One of the things about this band, again, so I haven't even touched upon what are the Truckfighters all about. They're basically a kind of like stoner rock, desert rock, stoner metal type of a band with some psychedelic leanings. Most of the time when I'm listening to this, I really hear lots of kind of Fu Manchu and Caius. Although some of the earlier albums have other influences as well, because some of the stuff is a little more psychedelic, and I think some of the latter stuff is a little more progressive at times. But I'll kind of talk about kind of things that I hear as I go along. But yeah, Last Curfew, busy drums, monstrous riffs that just kind of crush your brain. Just over 7 minutes long, really great song. And I like that the band, and they do this throughout their catalog, they use a lot of light and shade. So like, even though they may start off a song kind of like psychedelic and dark and atmospheric, and then they come crushing it with the big stoner rock riffs, and then the riffs fade away, and then they do some other things for a bit, then the riffs come back again. They do that a lot in their music. I think it's really cool, this whole kind of light and shade thing. Monty Gargano dials up the guitar noise. There's all sorts of feedbacky weird things going on. Chorus is pretty catchy, very cool track. You got the New High, massive groover of a tune, love it. You got Majestic, which is over 13 minutes total heavy psych mode. Really, really cool. Love the wealth of guitar sounds. The fuzz is massive. Really, really good track. Then you got Monster. That doesn't do a lot for me. To me, that's kind of like a waste. But it's followed up. They redeemed themselves with Con of Man, which is a good one. It's dark, moody, heavy. Love the vocals. Love the fuzz riffs. There's tons of fuzz. If you love fuzz-laden guitar riffs and heavy riffs, you've come to the right place, folks. Loose has a total Fu Manchu vibe. Totally dig it. Blackness closes things out, kind of bluesy, kind of psychedelic. I think this is a pretty strong album. All their albums are pretty strong. Something's got to go at number 5, so I'm going to go with this one here. All right, next up at number 4. All right, here's where I may upset some people. I'm going to go with their debut, Gravity X from 2005, as my number 4. Terrific album, right? Fun album. Stoner Desert Rock's a really long album, too. It's just under 70 minutes long. Desert Cruiser, really cool opener. Gotta love bands that put a first track on an album that just kind of kicks your ass. I do wish, though, and I find this a lot with their earlier albums, I wish the vocals were a little higher in the mix. It's like, the fuzz guitars are awesome. The drums are incredible. But the vocals are just kind of like sitting all the way in the back and you just barely hear them. Don't really like that too much. Gargarissimo totally crushes. Got momentum. It's got laid back little noodly psych bits. And then the big fuzz comes in. Very, very cool. Freewheeling has a kind of like a punk kind of alternative vibe. The Deal, that kind of meanders a little bit, but I love the drumming on it. The drumming is generally outstanding on all these albums. Really busy drumming. Very, very cool stuff. Super funk, very cool, plenty of groove. But again, the vocals are kind of like lost in the mix. They're kind of lazy, kind of dreamy in the background. I wish they were up front a little bit more. Subfloor, fun. Love the addition of horns on that. Very, very cool. I kind of wish they did that a little bit more. I think that's really neat. Guido kicks total ass. Awesome song. Again, I wish the vocals were a little louder in the mix, but it's a killer song. Manhattan Project, throw some psych into their little desert rock stew. Terrific track. In search of the, in parentheses, right? Pretty heavy, big groove. You got Intermission, that's kind of a throwaway track. A Zapruder, one of my favorites here. It's completely crushing, heavy stoner rock metal. Awesome, and the riffs are killer. And then Altered States is a lengthy kind of psych fest and sees the band getting all sorts of atmospheric little noodly things happen. Overall, I think this is a really strong album. I think it suffers from being a little long in the tooth, though. I think he could have taken out a couple tracks on here, mixed the vocals a little higher, and then you might have my number 1, right? But some great material on this. I get why people really love this. But to me, just a little long. I want to hear more of the vocals. Cut out maybe 2 of the little nondescript tracks. I think you have a really tight, great, great album there. All right, number 3, we're going to go with their second album, Pi, or Phi, P-H-I, Phi, Fee, Fi, Fo, Fum. Vocals seem a little better recorded on this one. I like, to me, this album sounds a little bit better than the debut. All right. Whether you think the songs measure up or not, that's completely up to you. I think, to me, Ozzo, their bass player and vocalist, at times, I really start hearing it a lot later in the catalog. Sounds to me like a mix of like Lane Staley from Alice in Chains, little bit of Jim Morrison at times. Right. Some other people come to mind at times, but I think he's got a really cool voice, fits this type of music. Atomic is a really cool, beefy opener. Again, great opening song. 48, serious heft, fruity as all hell. And I love that Ozzo's fuzz bass is always really high in the mix. He's up there fuzzing along right next to the guitars. Very, very cool. Kickdown, pretty crushing, but also shows a little bit of their experimental side. Chameleon absolutely riffs. To me, it's slow, heavy, with a good dose of like early Black Sabbath meets Alice in Chains. And it's over 10 minutes long. It just stomps and crushes everything in its path. Very, very cool song. A real favorite of mine in the entire catalog. Dysthymia. I don't know how you say that. Kind of mellow, kind of floating, occasional burst of heaviness. Pretty cool. I like the dynamic. Again, that light and shake thing. Very, very cool. Slackin', potent fuzz rocker. Warhead, monster heavy track. Love the riffs. Traffic is massive. Slides blends kind of moody psych with heavy stoner grooves, and Closer, The Game, is another heavy doom laden number. Big on fuzz, big on psych noodling. Really works. Really strong album. Again, could be higher. Really, really good. I like all these albums quite a bit. Number 2, we're going to go with 5, or V, their 5th album. Very cool album cover art here too. Really dig this a lot. And this, of course, was on Century Media Records. Their early stuff was on Fuzzorama Records, right? So this is their 5th album, last to date. That's 2016, so they haven't put out anything new in quite a while. Calm Before the Storm opens things up. It's kind of drifting, bluesy, psychedelic desert rock. Not indicative of most of their closers, right? Most of the other closers, I mean, openers, most of the other openers on the other albums are real heavy hitting, just draw you right in. This is a little different, little kind of like, it's got that desert rock thing, right? But still really good, really good. His vocals sound again like Lane from Alice in Chains, Jim Morrison, maybe a little Ian Astbury from the Cult. Very cool. Really love his vocals. And I like the slow build of this song. Like I said, it's kind of starts off, it's kind of trippy, kind of desert rock, and then eventually builds and builds. Got a pretty crushing finale, devastating riffs at the end, but the whole song is not like that. So they don't just kind of pull you in like some of the other stuff. Hawkshaw, another bruiser, reminds me of vintage Soundgarden in spots. The riffs are terrific. The mellower sections are really intoxicating. Again, light and shade, people, light and shade all throughout their songs. The One, total masher. But again, they drop in some kind of like eerie atmosphere in spots. It works really well. Gehenna brings the fuzz big time. And then the song changes complete pace and it becomes like this kind of like trippy psychedelic thing. And then towards the end, more pummeling heaviness. So taking you on this ride up and down, up and down, up and down. Very, very cool. The Contract also has these little noodly, bluesy guitar things and then big fat fuzz-laden riffs. Very cool. Constant yin and yang throughout their songs. Very cool. Fiend, dark, menacing, total face melter of a song. Love it. Love how the guitars, the riffs are getting more technical. The drumming is getting more busy and technical. It's at times I'm almost hearing on the later albums like a little like kind of like Mastodon in spots, right? Very interesting. And then Storyline finishes off. Plenty of beefy riffs, cool wah-wah solos. Fuzz bass is enormous. Another really strong album. And again, will we ever see them again? I don't know. But to me, their most two recent albums, their last two albums are absolutely tremendous. And I'm hoping that we get another one. If this is going to be the last thing we ever see from Truckfighters, woo, really, really good stuff. So, as you're probably guessing, my number one is Universe from 2014, their fourth album. So this one here, and you can see Universe, they break it up into called chapters, they call it. A little bit of a brighter production to this one. I think it really works though. You got Mind Control kicks it off, big tempo rocker, catchy, opens up the album, great chorus, really nice drumming from Poncho on here. Really nice drumming. I love the drumming on these albums, just so good. It's like at times the drumming reminds me of Keith Moon from The Who. It's that kind of busy thing, right? Goes kind of ahead of the beat and just following, everybody else. Really, really cool. The Chairman totally crushes. Love the fuzzy guitar tone and big, massive groove. I mean, the bass and the drums just totally just nailing it. Convention is up next. That's also fast-paced, frantic, excellent. Get Lifted sees the band going. It's a kind of like a melancholy psych with a touch of kind of grunge. I hear a little bit of like 90s grunge in this. I think Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, maybe a drop of Nirvana at their heaviest, certainly some Caius as well. Great song. Prophet, again, I mentioned those three singers before. It's got elements. It sounds like Fu Manchu, The Doors, and the Cult getting together in a studio at like 3 a.m, and boom, here's what you got. Very, very cool song. It's brooding. It's like, very, very cool. Dream Sail, another song with big brontosaurus riffs. Again, it's moody, excellent stuff. And then closing out the album is the Mastodont. So Mastodon with a T at the end. 13 minutes long. Got cool, like psychedelic prog metal guitar interplay. That's why I mentioned the Mastodon thing. And I'm wondering, because it's called Mastodons, whether this is their kind of little tribute to Mastodon. I don't know. But it's got this kind of like battle between the big crushing riffage and then all these like kind of like little noodly prog metal things going on. Got some cool wah-wah guitar solos. I hear Mastodon, I hear Tool. Very cool song. And then at the end, they got this gorgeous like acoustic kind of segue that finishes out the song. Excellent song. Excellent album. It's hard to pick a favorite here because again, I'm new to all of these. I've only been listening to these for like 2 months, maybe something like that. And like I said, I didn't have any bias as to which one I would pick or which one I knew better because I know them all as equals. So very cool catalog. Fast, once again, thank you so much for sending these to me. These kind of sit right alongside all the other cool kind of stoner desert fuzzy stuff that I love. But Truckfighters, that is my ranking. Number one, number two, number three, number four, and number five. But any of these could change at any given time because they're all really, really good. So you never know. As I get even more and more used to this catalog, 6 months, a year from now, I might even switch my list up a little bit. But whatever, it doesn't matter. The important thing is I'm enjoying them. And if you are a fan of Truckfighters, rank them as you like them down in the comments below. If you've never heard them, go listen to them. And then let us know what you think. Let us know how you rank them down in the comments below. And visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube all together, all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Click on that notification bell so you get alerted of all of our content as it posts. And please do hit the like button before you leave. Also, down below, we have the links to our Ko-Fi page for channel donations, our merch page, and our Cameo page. So thanks in advance for all your support there. And we'll see you soon here with more stuff. Ranking shows coming up in the very near future. Again, not quite sure of when each of these are hitting. I need to kind of get in touch with my co-captains. We have top 10 of John Coltrane for all you classic jazz fans. Mike Antonelli is coming back on the channel for the first time in years. Mike and I will be ranking our top 10 favorite John Coltrane albums. Rick Labonte and I are also ranking our 10 favorite Guess Who albums. And Grant Arthur and I are going to be ranking our top 10 favorite Todd Rundgren solo albums. Those are the immediate three that are coming up in the very near future. So which comes first, I don't know. So for those of you who like to plan these things, start putting your list together. We'll see which one comes next. I think Coltrane is next, and then the Guess Who, then Todd Rundgren, but I'm not 100% sure. We'll see how it goes. I'll know more in a couple of days. So, but thanks for watching, everybody. This is on the web. I think I said all that. Thanks for watching. Truckfighters is the band for today. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you next week here on Ranking the Albums. I'm Pete Pardo. Bye-bye.